Hi everyone, it's Jen again, also known as author Jennifer Crystal Johnson. I'm here again with another excerpt of my new book, and this is excerpt number 3. I'm pretty much going to get right into it. I called this one Crawling Skin and Sleep Paralysis. It's a little scary, right? It's meant to be. So don't freak out. It's supposed to be like scary sci-fi. Not super scary, but like, you know, tension and build up and what is all this stuff, you know? Alright. So crawling skin and sleep paralysis. Anna's mind drifted as she tried to fall asleep that night. She was acutely aware of her crawling skin and its various open sores. She felt itchy all over. Between that and her brain refusing to shut up, she wasn't sure how long she'd be awake. She must have laid there for a good hour before she got up and started pacing. She wondered if they would give her some sleeping pills so she could just pass out. Her forearms itched and she rubbed them delicately, careful not to hurt herself more. As she ran her hand down her arm, her fingers caught on something. There was a new clump of fibers protruding, and it felt like there was some kind of lump underneath her skin. "Great," she mumbled. Looking at her arm in the dim light coming from the window, she started pulling gently at the fibers, hoping to pull at least some of the mess out of her arm. They were still pretty stuck. She would have to wait until her body pushed them out more. She sighed as she sat down on the bed, a weird feeling of being watched washing over her. The room was dark, so she couldn't be sure of anything. Shadows always played weird tricks on her, especially after she'd started seeing moving ones, and she'd asked herself a million times if she was perceiving them more often simply because she thought she'd seen them before. It was a vicious cycle. Unsure of what else to do, she lay back on her bed and closed her eyes, focusing on her breathing. The feeling of being watched grew stronger as she tried to relax, and a knot began to form in her stomach. The bridge of her nose tickled the way it does when someone is really close but not quite touching it. She opened her eyes quickly and saw a black, shadowy silhouette floating just inches above her. Her eyes widened and she stayed quiet, but fear gripped her with its icy fingers and she felt paralyzed as her breathing became ragged. The shadow above her looked like a face, but not entirely human. Its eyes glowed a dim red, and it was staring directly into her eyes. She couldn't make out any distinct facial features, so she focused on her breathing and not having a heart attack. After what seemed like an eternity of being unable to move, Anna squeezed her eyes shut and mumbled, "You're not real. You're not real. You're not real." She opened her eyes and there was nothing there. So now we have weird fibers coming out of her body and shadows haunting her. So where does this all lead? If you like the excerpts, please buy my book in print or on your Kindle and find out for yourself. And again, if you like the excerpts, you can subscribe and stay tuned for the next video. Thank you very much.